Just kind of that to me. In 1 year. Not like that. She's everybody. I got a 2 electric blanket.
What is she screaming out at?
I got a
Good evening. I would like to call the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education meeting for May 22nd, 2023 to order. Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick, Mr. Kloss, Mrs. McConnell,
Here.
Mr. Murphy,
here.
Dr. Ranking, Mr. Wilson,
Here.
President Ross.
Here.
We have 6 present.
Thank you. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I would like to recognize the two bulletin boards on each side of me and the schools that are represented here. CT Vivian on this side and Glen Oak on this side. Thank you very much for the artwork and the representation. Announcements. Anyone have any announcements?
There is no school for students, and all offices will be closed next Monday, May 29th, in observance of Memorial Day. And SEL Parent University. Do you want to learn more about the impact SEL has on education? Do you want to work together to create a safe, emotional space for our children in our district? If so, please join the SEL Authentic Family Partnership Action Team at Parent University on June 1st. SEL sessions will provide important updates on SEL in our district and an opportunity to hear from you on various SEL topics.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. PTO Council meeting. The PTO Council will meet tomorrow, Tuesday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. in the PLC 1 room. All K through 4 parents are encouraged to attend.
Thank you, Ms. Costick.
I have two. Good evening, everyone. Kindergarten Roundup. A reminder, kindergartners must have 2 proofs of address, a certified birth certificate, and an up-to-date immunization record and physical to enroll. Immunizations and physicals are due by the first day of school on August the 2nd. To register your child, visit www.psd150.org/enrollment. Middle school graduation. The following 8th grade graduations will take place on Wednesday, May 24th. Sterling and Von Steuben at 9 a.m., Glen Oak at 12 p.m., and Annie Jo Gordon at 5 p.m. That's on Wednesday, May 24th. On Thursday, May 25th, Harold B. Dawson, Lincoln, and Sterling are at 9 a.m., Elise Ford Allen at 10 a.m., and Tree Wynn at 1 p.m., Mark Bills at 5. Those are all on Thursday, May 25th. On Tuesday, May the 30th, Liberty Leadership, Reservoir, and Rolling Acres will be at 6 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, May the 30th. Thank you.
Vice President.
Thank you. I have the announcement that many children are excited to hear. The last day of school will be June 2nd with a half day for students. June 7th is the last day for the Knoxville Center for Student Success and Valeska Hinton Early Childhood Education Center. And that is all of my announcements.
Thank you. I have one announcement. Parent University. The Parent University End of the Year Bash will be held on Thursday, June 1st at the Riverplex Center from 5 to 8 p.m. Come enjoy some educational family fun featuring parent workshops, Zumba classes, a bouncy house, school physicals, community programs, food, and more. So come out to the Riverplex and join us on June 1st from 5 to 8 p.m. Thank you. Okay, after announcements. Next on our agenda is awards and recognition.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. President Ross, Vice President Murphy, and board members. This is just a quick opportunity to thank two amazing administrators who will be retiring at the end of the year. They selected Peoria Public Schools for their entire career. They've done an amazing job, and they're both retiring from principalship. So I'm very, very proud of them. I've known them for many, many years. We've worked together for a long, long time. And they are Heidi Barron. Heidi has worked as a teacher, assistant principal in Peoria Public Schools for over 34 years. Ms. Barron? We're proud of you. We love you. You've done an amazing job. Actually, at principal's meeting, she received a beautiful, it's heavy.
It is, yes.
This nice little, what do we call it?
Dedication.
A dedication. What does it say? And then tell us where you
So,
worked.
okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Peoria Public Schools for giving me this opportunity of a lifetime to work for 34 years, my entire career. And I started in 1989 at Roosevelt Magnet School. And I want to thank Dr. Jenkins. She was my principal, and Dr. Karat was our assistant principal. So thank you for everything.
I was the evaluator. She was good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great, amazing teacher.
It was amazing. I absolutely loved it and enjoyed it. And then I moved to Keller for 12 years, continued kindergarten and fourth grade. And so I've taught every grade K through 6 except for fifth grade. And then I moved to CT Vivian for assistant principal my first year as AP. And then after that, I went to Lincoln, which was magnificent, yes. And we had elite there, and it was a lot of fun. And then at Keller, and it was very special to go back to Keller because I was there as a teacher and came back as a principal, and it's been magnificent. So I find this sad and excited to begin this next journey in my life. And I want to thank Dr. Malson also for all of her mentorship, and Dr. Wilson, and just everybody. It takes a team. So thank you very much.
You've done a nice job. And she says once she relaxes a little bit, she wants to come back and help us as a sub. So we have some assignments for you already. We have work for you. And then the next amazing principal is Mrs. Sue Malihi. She's currently at Liberty Middle School. And Mrs. Malihi, can you please come up and join us? And you can, again, she is... You look great. Both of them do, don't they? We're retiring. I know that. It's like, we're retiring, so we're relaxed. So, yeah, we're just really proud of you for dedicating your entire career to Peoria Public Schools, and you've done it so well. We've had lots of conversations. You're always thinking of different ways to meet the needs of a variety of kids, not giving up on them. And actually, everyone, she's Golden Apple winner, which is excellent leadership qualities that you were for the state of Illinois. You can talk a little bit about that and maybe talk about where you have been. And I know you have some grandchildren coming up, so you're very, very excited. I'm going to miss you, both of you, just because you guys were just thought partners with me as well. But we appreciate what you've done for PPS. You've not given up on the kids. You've not given up on the district. You're like, so yeah, let's hear from you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And again, I also want to thank Peoria Public Schools for the opportunities, because when I started this journey, I had no intentions of being a principal, and it just kind of grew upon me. And I think a lot of that reflects a lot on the district. The collegial input and support from each other, which I really appreciate, and the professional development and growth we get as educators. And so it is kind of nice that, I had that opportunity. I started out at Samuel H. White Middle School. I was a special ed teacher, and actually most of my teaching career was in 7th grade. Spent some time at Von Steuben, went to Rolling Acres, and then from there, I was an assistant principal at Glen Oak for a semester, and then at Northmore for a few years before going to Liberty Leadership. But again, I just think, this district has so much to offer our kids, and I love seeing teachers who are just so very positive and getting that opportunity and continuing to have that support and impact on our students. So thank you to all of you as well.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, President Ross.
Thank you. Yes. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to say something really quick since I have experience dealing with Principal Barron. We are surely going to miss you at Keller. It has been a very much a privilege to have you there. I know my kids have really loved having you there, and you were great these past couple of years that you were there. And Mrs. Malahy, I'm really sad that we're not going to get a chance to see you at Lindbergh, but you were always really great to work with on the PTO at Keller. You'd always come over and talk. The dog that you brought in for the kids at the school, Charlie, I couldn't remember the name. That was amazing, and that was definitely something that was unique to you, and that was something that a lot of kids really benefited from. So I just wanted to say personally thank you to both of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The Golden Apple Award, Dr. Nicole Corey Mawson, Dr. Wood.
All right. Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, Superintendent Dr. Crott, members of the board. It is my very distinct pleasure and honor to be able to share with you today that we have the Golden Apple Principal for the state of Illinois right here in Peoria Public Schools. Come here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this award. The Golden Apple Award for Excellence in Leadership honors exemplary performance in school leadership by a principal or head of school who's had a significant and sustained positive impact on the school, creates a culture of inclusivity, and delivers dramatic student growth. This is a highly competitive award process which resulted in the selection of 6 pre-K through 12th grade school leader finalists from more than 130 nominations received across the state. Mrs. Kathy Rodriguez, principal of Charter Oak Primary, was one of those 6 finalists. The Golden Apple team then spent a full day with each finalist, watching how they lead their buildings and engaging in interviews with the leader, the students, the staff, the parents, community members, and central administration. We were all thrilled when the Golden Apple Foundation showed up at Charter Oak Primary School on May 9th to surprise Mrs. Rodriguez and the entire Charter Oak community, letting them know that Mrs. Rodriguez is the Award of Excellence in Leadership winner for the state of Illinois. We are incredibly proud of her work and the way that she leads in our district. What stands out most when you walk the halls of Charter Oak Primary is the outstanding family atmosphere and culture that is established. It truly wraps around each child. Teamwork is at the heart of what they do, and it is evident in the continuous academic gains the school experienced over the years on the state assessment. Charter Oak was also named an exemplary school this year, which is the title for schools performing in the top 10% of schools statewide with no underperforming student groups. Yes, huge accomplishment. Mrs. Rodriguez is a servant leader, and if you visit her building, you will not find her in the office. She typically will be running around the school. She will usually be wearing an apron loaded with all sorts of things she needs, such as positive behavior tickets to reward students, her walkie-talkie, and other celebratory items. She's out in classrooms. She is working with students. She's running the morning celebratory culture assembly and anything else that needs to be done. She rolls up her sleeves and works alongside her staff. It is never easy to be promoted within your own building to the principalship, but Mrs. Rodriguez's staff has not only embraced her and her shared leadership style, but they are running alongside her. Please join me in celebrating Mrs. Kathy Rodriguez on this outstanding achievement. We thank you so much for your commitment and dedication to the children in Peoria Public Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Corey Molson. That was really kind. And thank you, Dr. Crott, Board of Education, so many of you sitting around the room here, all a great part of just this opportunity. And just like the retirees said, I am so grateful for the opportunity that I've had to serve in this capacity in this great district, in the school community that I love so dearly. And it truly is aligned vision. Everybody I work with on staff, we believe we are doing what is best for students, and we work hard to get it done. The school community itself is really supportive and responsive, and it takes all of us. None of this celebration would have happened had it not been for each and every one in our school community, and many of them are sitting in here even now. I'm seeing lots of students and former students, and there is truly a love that we all share, I believe, in our community. So thank you again for this opportunity, this really nice recognition, and I appreciate all that we're doing here together.
And you are up again, Dr. Corey Mouse.
I sure am. So it's just a celebration night. I also get the opportunity to share with you a wonderful partnership that we have at Dr. Maud A. Sanders Primary School. As you are all aware, over the last couple of years, we've been working on making improvements at Dr. Maud Sanders. This past fall, when Peoria Nazarene Church community saw that we had a need, they reached out and offered their help and support. What has unfolded this year has been an amazing partnership with this church, continually asking what else they can do to help. I am blown away time and time again by all they have done for our students and our school community. And although they really asked to remain like silent heroes and did not want any sort of recognition or praise, we felt their partnership has gone so above and beyond that we just wanted to recognize them as a way to say thank you for all that they have done for us. I also would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to tell you that this school has shown an incredible turnaround this school year. The culture has made a drastic shift, the discipline has drastically decreased, and the school is starting to make great gains. I believe that this is the combination of leadership from our principal, Mr. Matt Durr, coupled with the amazing staff, volunteers, parents, and students all working together to make a great impact. And I'm so excited for what's to come. So at this time, I'd like to invite our principal, Mr. Durr, to come forward and tell you about tonight's Community Contribution Award winner, Peoria Nazarene Church.
Board President Ross, Superintendent Karat, and board members, thank you for providing me this opportunity to honor our adopt-a-school partner, the Peoria Nazarene Church. They have become our silent heroes in helping support our students and staff this year. Pastor Mark and Associate Pastor Austin and the church members have wrapped their hands around our school and have taken us under their wings. They have done so much in a short period of time. It has been amazing. They started a snack pack program that distributes meals to our students on the weekends, provide volunteers to help our popcorn on Popcorn Fridays, which is a fundraiser for our PTO. They donated the popcorn machine, which was well needed, and which was an upgrade. And they support our community events like our Trunk or Treat, which was one of the most attended events that we had since COVID, and our school carnival. The church congregation has taken up donations and donated a washer and dryer that we use every day, as well as provided our staff with breakfast in appreciation for all they do. This is a partnership that our school community is blessed to have, and I hope it will continue for years to come. So I would like you to introduce, if you could stand up, Pastor Mark and Associate Pastor Austin. So they need a round of applause for everything that they did. Thank you.
We do have a beautiful award coming for them as well. It's just not here tonight, but we'll be delivering a beautiful award for you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the Student Showcase. I want to introduce Principal Arnold Spiker from CTC.
All right. Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, board members, and Dr. Karat. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to share with you tonight the accomplishments of some of our Woodruff Career and Technical Center students this year and the staff members that helped them succeed. Our students competed in 2 state competitions this year, Pro Start and Skills USA. With me here tonight are those students and staff members who helped them that qualified to compete nationally, representing the state of Illinois and Peoria Public Schools. We had 10 students compete in Pro Start competitions from our culinary arts program. 5 of them qualified to compete nationally in Washington, D.C., which they did so the first week of May. We also had 43 students compete in Skills USA from 4 different programs within our school, and 6 of those 43 students were able to qualify to compete nationally in Atlanta, June 19th through the 25th. So at this time, I would like to introduce one of our teachers that was very instrumental in this success, and that's Chef Yeti. She will introduce, sorry. Chef Yeti. She's going to introduce her students and their accomplishments.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So thank you. So yes, we had a very busy 2 weeks there. So we went from doing Skills USA, state the when did we start Skills USA? Was it the 25th through the 25th through the 29th of April? Then on Sunday we got to take a nap, and then on Monday we went to DC to compete at DC for nationals. So behind me I have the culinary students here that did very well at both competitions. So first I want to introduce my Pro Start team right here. That's these guys. So for the 6th year in a row, we were able to actually bring home the state title for a Pro Start team, which is through the National Restaurant Association. And 4 of our members actually were returning members. And then we have our rookie Kendall here that's gonna hopefully get our next group growing. And we have Connor, who is a senior who graduated. He's working at Sweet Fire, and he's starting ICC restaurant management this fall. We have James, who was our chef for our team, and he's starting the Culinary Institute of America at Hyde Park in New York this fall. We have Kendall, who will be back at Woodruff with us next year. We have Trinity, who is also a junior, and she will actually be, because she has been taking culinary for 2 years, she will be doing our D2 program, attending ICC. She is also our Skills USA secretary this year, and next year will be our president to keep our chapter going for skills. And then we have LaShawna, who is a senior, who will also be attending ICC this fall. So I'm going to have the 4 of them actually that did the presentation just do a quick, just a minute and a half, what we did to get ready for critical thinking, just so you have an idea of kind of what their concept was. And after that, we will start talking a little bit about skills.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let us take you on a journey back to when Odin watched over the 9 realms and wandered over the forest and the seas. Odin is the all-father of the gods in Norse mythology and watches over everything, including the changes of the seasons, the harvest, and the bounties that come with it.
Imagine getting back to nature and letting the seasons dictate how you eat. Imagine a sense of discovery through tasting the freshness of the ocean and flavors of the land. That's the experience we want to share with you here at Odin.
Hi, I'm James, your executive chef here at Odin.
Nice to meet you. I'm Connor, and I'll be your maitre d'.
Hi, judges. I'm Trinity, your general manager and marketing specialist.
Hello, I'm Kim. I'm the office manager. I handle things behind the scenes such as payroll, HR matters, and accounting.
Welcome to Odin.
So this was the 30-second version that we did for critical thinking. They also have a 3.5-minute version that they have to give to 5 different sets of judges, and then we had an 11-minute presentation as well. But we know we have a lot of people here to get through. So thank you all so much. And Trinity, you wanted to say a few words?
Okay. So Principal Spiker asked me to say a few words about what Woodruff has offered to me. So, attending Woodruff has provided me many opportunities for personal and academic growth. By attending this school, I have been given the opportunity to gain knowledge and skills in a variety of areas, from accounting skills, life skills, and of course, what I went to Woodruff for, culinary art skills, and culinary and restaurant management. I've been given the chance to develop social skills and develop relationships with those that I typically wouldn't be able to, and teachers. These teachers have given me so much, and you can tell that they truly love their jobs, and they're just wonderful. Even if it was a simple smile or a wave, they truly motivate the students and keep us going, and they are the many reasons why I love going to Woodruff so much. And not to mention the countless times Chef Yeti, for example, has pushed us to sometimes breaking point. And she has given us many opportunities for jobs and to further our life skills. And finally, attending Woodruff has provided me the foundation I needed to pursue higher education or a career in my desired field. And I want to thank Principal Spiker for being a wonderful leader of our school, and I want to thank Chef Yeti, who has been there since the beginning. Many words can describe and tell what she has done for me and my team, but I just want to say thank you, and I'm very honored to have been your student.
All right, so on to Skills USA. I was reading through the agenda, and there is an action item later on tonight. So please remember our wonderful smiling faces when we go over that one. We have several of our students that actually are moving on to Skills USA to do the national competition. So Skills USA is amazing. They offer 50, 60 different contests, and we feel that there are so many opportunities for all of Peoria Public Schools. They have middle school opportunities as well as high school opportunities, not just Woodruff, but we are the Peoria Public Schools chapter, so hopefully we can maybe use this platform here to spread it and maybe get some more people participating in it. We were so excited this year that we went from just the health occupations and culinary doing it. Now we have barbering that is going to represent us at nationals. We have cosmetology students that went and competed. One of our construction trades teachers actually was able to judge this year, so he could kind of pick up some hints and tips, and he will be competing next year as well. But this year I want to show you our delegation that we'll be taking to DC. So we have Ray. She is wearing her grandpappy's chef coat that she wore competing at state. So we figure it's a lucky, so we're gonna iron it, polish it up, get it looking ready for nationals. And she has to cook in 4.5 hours. She has to cook 4 courses all by herself. So that's quite a feat because culinary is a huge competition. You have to test into it, and then it was tough to make it to nationals. So big applause for Ray. So in our leadership, we have Ryan, and Ryan actually did action skills this year. So her and a teammate, as well as our whole class kind of helped with this project. We did a project with PCAPs. So we raised funds for PCAPs. They did a bake sale. We baked dog treats and cat treats and brought them over. They've been walking dogs and cats. They've been cat sitting, so they're petting the cats so they don't get so skittish and mean when people try and adopt them and that sort of thing. And then they actually presented about this at the state competition, and they are moving on to nationals. So last year at nationals with our community action team, we were actually second place. So hopefully, we can build on that, but it's tough competition this year. So, but yeah, excellent. So also part of that was Lashana. She with her community service team, they really worked together. So she's actually very instrumental in that. We have our secretary behind us. That is Trinity Morris, and all this paperwork, student delegation. So she was instrumental in that. Kendall and James were part of our entrepreneurship team. Unfortunately, we got second this year. We didn't quite win. We were blaming the cold soup for that, right? Because it was the second round. Gotta blame it somewhere, right? And then we have our Skills USA president this year, our student president, and that was Connor Lamont. So, round of applause. And then Mr. Allen is gonna brag on his student Sabri, that's gonna represent barbering at Skills. So, you guys are next.
Thank you all for this opportunity. Yeti told you all about the Skills USA and all that it offers, but and for us, the barbering department on state, the barbers have to spend 3.5 hours of cutting, and all they're cutting is different type of haircuts with different type of textures, so they want to make sure that they can be able to handle themselves in any type of barbershop they go into. And also the main thing is sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization. So as they were cutting, they had to make sure that each one of the implements was placed right back in order because they was being judged on that. Also, they was judged on resumes. So it's like they actually went to go have get a job. Also, they was judged on job skills. So it was a lot of different things that they had to be judged on. So we had to work on this for many, many hours. But I want to thank these young guys because these are all seniors. And in the competition in barbering, Woodruff Career Technical Center Barbering Program got first, second, and third this year. But unfortunately, only the first place player gets to go to nationals to represent, and that is Sabri. So he'll be going to Atlanta this year. And he'll be going to Atlanta to represent Woodruff in the barbering program. I want to thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, once again, I would like to thank the school board and Dr. Karat for this opportunity to share tonight. Lastly, would like to introduce Ms. Sarah Chapman, as she will present to you about our second annual signing day and the 34 Woodruff students that were offered full-time employment this spring. Ms. Sarah Chapman. Thank you very much.
Hello. So this year, the Woodruff Worker and Learn program was able to serve 96 students, thanks to grant funding through the Illinois Youth Investment Program. With these 96 students doing their work-based learning internships within the Peoria area, they had a chance to use what they learn at Woodruff and do a hands-on internship with these businesses. And then upon completion of their internship, 34 of our seniors, as Mr. Spiker said, were offered full-time employment at those area businesses upon their high school graduation. This was 20 more students than we had last year when we decided to try this. So from 14 to 34, we were pretty proud of that, but we're gonna make it even better next year. We celebrated their success by honoring them at a signing day ceremony. So much like with college athletics, we had these seniors bring their families, the businesses, friends. Everyone came, and these seniors were able to sign letters of intent in front of the crowd, in front of their families, their coaches. Peoria Public Schools administrators were there. It was a big success. We set up 120 chairs, and I don't think there was an open seat in the house. So it was exciting to have everybody together. We are so proud of the students. Many of them are here tonight that were just represented, who are given these opportunities for full-time jobs. We are so proud of them, and we look forward to seeing where their jump start from Woodruff takes them. So here's a little video that we had made from the signing day.
Thank you. I didn't lose my place. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we are doing a lot more than I thought. The IESA track and field state qualifiers. Ms. Emily Dawson. Thank you.
I don't know if I deserve that, but my name is Emily Dawson. I am a special education teacher over at Mark Bills. I also happen to be a track coach amongst like the last 3 times I was here. I am super proud to introduce the 3 Peoria Public Schools teams that competed in the IESA Sectional AA Sectional 6 track meet. We happened to have been, we were the host this year, which was exciting to bring it to Peoria Public Schools and to be able to showcase our students at home. It was incredible to see there was 1,000 or just shy of 1,100 entries. So a kid can run up to 4 events essentially. And that means there was like 250 to 300, 400 students. We had a great crowd. There was over 500 to 600 people who attended Richwoods High School on May 6th. And the 3 teams that were competing, they competed against 14 area middle schools. And there were the 3 Peoria Public Schools, which was Mark Bills, Reservoir, Gifted Academy, and Annie Jo Gordon. So each one of the coaches are going to get up and introduce their teams. And although they had bigger teams, like I had 38 students and I had 10 that qualified, we brought our qualifiers to tonight. And they competed on May 13th, or May 12th and 13th, depending on which events that they qualified in, at Eastside Center in East Peoria. So it was a fantastic day. It was great to be a coach of like the school, and it was their first experience at IESA State, and to watch like the awe of walking into that stadium that sunk in the ground and the thousands of students that were competing. So just to see the faces of our students in that experience was well worth the effort and the extra effort, I guess, it takes to coach for the IESA season. Our season started the last week of February. So these students, not only the coaches, the students have been running and conditioning and competing since the last week of February, and they're still competing this week because the district finals are Wednesday night. So it has been a long and tough season, but I believe that all 3 of our schools have done a fantastic job in representing Peoria Public Schools on the state stage. So I'm going to introduce Mark Bills real quick, and then I will pass the mic. We had 10 kids in 3 events. We have first, so if I call your name or your event, if you want to come up. We had our 4x1 7th grade girls relay with Jemiah McClinton, Dakai Cox, Vivian Dare, Aaliyah Adams, Tegan Brewer. Then we had our 7th grade boys 4x1, which had Josiah Bass Tucker, Caden Ferguson, Trip Pitts, Paris Nelson, and Jai Washington. And both of these teams qualified out of sectionals by getting first place in their event, which is an automatic then bid to state. And then we were surprised Tuesday of the state series that week that we had another qualifier on time, and that was Aaliyah Adams, and she went in the 400. So congratulations. I'm very excited and very proud of you to be your coach. Can I get a picture of all of you? Sure. Let me go behind. I didn't run. Okay. Sorry, I just kind of told him how. Okay. All right, look at me. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Congrats. And then we've got Coach Jones and Rebid, from Annie Jo Gordon, and they're going to introduce their team.
Good evening. We represent Annie Jo Gordon's track and field here. I will say this is my second year coaching track, and what I said was to the students, as long as you take me to state, we're good. And that's what they did. So I definitely want to say to my students, you guys represented the South Side very well. We got nothing but great compliments from you guys, and I am very proud of you as your guys' coach. So I will let Coach Reppin announce the kids.
So we have Cornelius Williams, who competed on the 12th. He got first place at sectionals in the boys' 8th grade 100-meter dash. So that was his way into sectionals. And we also had our boys' 8th grade relay 4x1 make it to sectionals based on getting first place as well, which Cornelius is also a part of. We have Mikael Diggins. Walter Robinson. And we have Santana Johnson, who was unable to join us tonight. Yep.
And just to let you know, we do have family here represented for our students, as well as our proud principal of the South Side, Mrs. Fabian Daniels. Please stand.
And I'd like to introduce Shannon Rule, the head coach. We're co-coaches. Co-coaches from Reservoir Gifted.
Yeah, Coach Jackson here has been taking his daughter on a college visit all day today, so he just made it here today. Okay, so I'm Coach Rule, and we're like the experienced school of IESA of these three. So some of our girls have been to the IESA state before. And one thing I do want to point out is with IESA, the age divisions are 7th grade or 8th grade. We have 5th and 6th graders running. They are all running up with kids older than them. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Now, not all of our kids could be here tonight. When they're not doing track, it turns out they're doing all sorts of other sports. So, but we'll go through all the names, and the ones that are able to make it tonight will come up here with us. So we had one boy qualify, Kyan Curtis, in the 8th grade high jump. After 1 month of high jumping, he qualified for state. I'm not going to take credit for our great coaching. He's just talented. Oops. Okay, in girls 7th grade discus, we had 6th grader Chloe Clark. In 7th grade girls 100 dash, we have also a 6th grader, Purity Mosetti. In the 7th grade girls 200, we have the state's 7th place finisher, Hannah Huff. And another individual event, Mywin Rule in the 8th grade girls 400. She's home doing her Spanish project right now. All right, then we had a couple relays make it through. In the 7th grade girls 4x400, we had Purity Mosetti, Hannah Huff, along with Olivia Barksdale, Molly Swain, and Addison Jones. And then finally, in the girls 8th grade 4x200 relay, we had Mars Ayers, Purity Mosetti, Hannah Huff, and the one making her Spanish food right now, Mywin Rule. They finished in 4th place.
While they're doing the photo, are there any parents present of any of the children that have been recognized? Parents, please stand and raise your hand.
So we would just like to thank you guys for the opportunity to allow us to expand into IESA. And we'd love if there was a way that we could create a mechanism so all of the schools could join IESA and join us at sectionals. I guess I'm willing to host it again if need be. It always takes that one little, okay. Anyway, but we really enjoy it. And then for the track coaches, we love what we do, even if it's a long season. And we appreciate all of the effort that our students and our stars give us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I'll give it a couple of minutes if people want to leave. Or they're going to leave anyway.
Yes, it was dead when I came. That's why I brought AJ and.
All right, next on our agenda,
Yes.
the district presentations. District presentations. I'd like to call Dr. Jerry Bell.
All right. Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, school board members, and Dr. Crott. As you know, the overarching goals of our district's alternative placement programs are to, one, provide a safe learning environment for all students, and two, to provide opportunities for students to continue with their learning. One of the many alternative placements for our district's 6th through 9th grade students is Game Changers. Since its inception, Mr. Carl Cannon and the elite staff members have worked to ensure students assigned to Game Changers meet their weekly academic and SEL goals. Currently housed at the Dream Center and on the second floor at Manual High School, students who are assigned to Game Changers must achieve passing grades in their 4 core subjects before they return to their home schools. Additionally, once they return to their home schools, each student is assigned an elite mentor who checks on them weekly. Since February, when I began working with Mr. Cannon and others at the Game Changers program, I have visited the program numerous times. Each time I came away more impressed with the level of commitment they demonstrate as they continuously work with each student and his or her parents. What I witness is true partnership. To give us a more comprehensive update on how Game Changers is doing this school year, please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Carl Cannon. Mr. Cannon.
Thank you, Dr. Bell. President Ross, Vice President Murphy, members of the board, Dr. Karat, administration and community. With a great honor. I'm excited. And I'm hoping, I'm believing that when I finish here, you're going to share in the excitement. Because what you have before you are real answers, part of the answer, not part of the problem. So to help illustrate that, I did ask a couple parents to help lead this off. Because you need to hear in real time from real people, unrehearsed, the difference. So Mr. Hamilton, please. No, this is Grandpa. Give him.
Well, as Mr. Cannon said, it's unrehearsed and it's from the heart. And this is going to be a challenge for me because I want to give you some backstory before I get into this organizations and their mentorship and their support that they provided for me and my family. Daughter, Brianna. Came out of the hospital, and we had to take control. Her parents lost their parental rights. We had to adopt because the parents couldn't get off the drugs. We raised her, and she was a perfect child for us, grandchild. She went to Charter Oak, where she got excellent education there. She had a wonderful time. Then she moved to Mark Bill's. Mark Bill, she had a great principal her first year, 5th grade. And from there, it kind of went downhill. Because they didn't show the compassion and the need to care and understand her. I went and I spoke to each one of those principals every year. Miss Rogers, Miss Padilla, Miss Steele, and Mr. Hesh. When I told them her backstory of where she was at and where she's coming to and what the troubles that she's having because she gets harassed at school. You don't have a normal family. You were being raised by your grandparents. Why is that? And it was very troubling for her because she knew the story. I never kept nothing from her as far as her parents and what her parents did. They basically abandoned her for the drugs. And I give them credit. They tried to get off. Right now, her mother is sitting in a nursing home operating on a 13-year-old level because she OD'd and almost died. And during her tenure at the elite organization at the school, her father died of an OD. And you think that isn't a struggle for her? That was a struggle for us. We were trying to raise a 13, 14-year-old girl. She's coming up and she's just starting into her adulthood and she learns and she's taking things in. And she's trying to understand why she doesn't have the life that she has. And each year that she went to Mark Bill's, I went to Miss Steele and Mr. Hesh and I explained this story to her and to give understanding and compassion. That never was received. So hence the reason why she had to transform over to the elite school. The elite school staff, amazing. They've done a beautiful job with her. She was there when her father passed, and the compassion and the love and the caring that she received from the staff was amazing. They was calling her, they was coming and picking her up, taking her, and just trying to understand and help her cope with her troubles that she was having. They've done a remarkable job. I've got to give credit to that young lady, but at the same time, give credit to Mr. Cannon and his entire staff that they have brought sunshine to us by her changing. She has changed her attitude and is doing so much better than when she went into that place, went into the elite organization. So I'm just here to say, this organization, they're 100% outstanding. And I recommend that if you've got troubled children and your staff at your schools can't handle this type of situation, this is the place to go because they'll get right down with the child and understand and talk to her and show the care and the compassion that is required. We can't do it. Her and her grandmother, we struggle. That's getting thrown at me. I don't know how to deal with that. And I'm just thankful that these folks was here to help us get through that. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Another parent, Ms. Raines.
Good evening, board members. My name is Jaleesa Raines. I had to write this down because I'm not good with public speaking. My name is Jaleesa Raines, and I'm a parent of a student that attends Elite. And she's been an Elite not once but twice, coming from Sterling, where she has seemed to have more setbacks than luck. Ever since she has been at Elite, though, she has seemed to do better academically. Her attitude is more respectful to authority figures. And although she does still seem to have some struggles, Elite has seemed to be the best option for her at this time. As a parent, I'm a firm believer that it takes a village, not to just raise a child, but to teach one. And I am most appreciative to the Elite staff because they have become a part of my child's village. not only teaching, but showing genuine care and concern for both her and my family. And for that, I am extremely appreciative. I would personally like to thank Carl Cannon and the entire elite staff for all of their help and countless efforts. You are appreciated, and I thank you. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Raines. We had a surprise visitor just stop by to take a look, and I asked her after her assessment to share it real quick.
Hi, I'm Denise Hansen. I'm a current teacher at Elise Ford Allen, and I was interested in what was going on at Game Changers as we've sent several kids out there and they've come back. Like, what's happening out there? How is this program run? Like, we've heard all sorts of things. So I was like, stop by. Let's take a look for yourself. And I left there so impressed with their team. Like, all the people I met, they're so in it for the kids. Like, you can tell every game changer he's chosen is just perfect for the program. But not only was I impressed, I was inspired. Like, I so want to work with these kids. What they're doing, even just the 2 kids that we currently have there, to see the difference in them from when I saw them 2 weeks ago at Elise Ford Allen to walking in that room and seeing them last week blew me away. The change already was so amazing. And I talked to Carl, I was just like, this could be a whole school. This could be a whole movement that you could work with so many kids that need this, and just started bouncing ideas and how you could take this to the next level. Breaking them down into smaller groups when you have more kids, introducing responsive practices and all those classroom structures that they have at their normal homeschool. It just got me excited. So I'm really excited to see how the district develops the elite school. I think it's so needed. We have so many kids that could benefit from Mr. Cannon and the whole team, that I wish more of our students had the opportunity to engage in the elite school.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hanson. I'd like to also acknowledge our board chair, Mr. Tom Marshall, who's seated there. He's not going to speak because it would go for long. No. I'm sorry.
He doesn't pay me enough to speak.
Okay, that's established. No more money in the till. Tonight, we are here to give a report on the Game Changer Safe School for 22-23, real data. With me tonight are the parents, educators, and our outreach director, Ms. Cannon. Most of you know that I've been working with young people in and around Peoria for 20-plus years. However, what we are doing today through the Elite Game Changer Safe School is one of the most important initiatives I've ever endeavored to undertake. My team and I believe that our Safe School is one of the most effective and important partnerships that Peoria Public Schools has. We know that the impact we are having on the young people's lives that we work with is life-changing, not only for them, but for their families and us. First, I'd like to give my guests, they gave their short summary, so I'm going to bypass that. And what I want to do is take you through the PowerPoint. I can't see seeing a PowerPoint and then the speaker read every word verbatim. That's insulting. So I'm going to offer you the opportunity to look through the PowerPoint, and we have 9 slides. Should you have any questions, we are prepared to answer them. But a couple of key points going back one. That last one, we are provided by Peoria Public Schools certified full-time teacher and a certified retired teacher. Our teachers leave work, like Dr. Bell said, giddy. He didn't say giddy, but they are excited about coming to work. Yeah, Denise Scott said giddy. So giddy is appropriate because you are effective. And all our American heroes, our teachers, deserve that. So, next slide, please. This is a typical profile of a student coming in. They would be what you would refer to maybe as tier 3. So they've had numerous disciplinary referrals, both major and minor. I'm saying numerous. And a lot of things have been tried, and Peoria Public Schools give them credit. Dr. Karat came to us and said, this is going to be an extra measure. And that's exactly what it is. Should you, any questions? Okay, next slide. Lasting change. We've served this year 118 students, grades 6 through 9, and 13% of that return. That's our recidivism rate. That's real. Mr. Hamilton spoke that, or Ms. Raines did. That's real. Temporary fix, but a fix. Kids are right. They're better. We've had a 95% reduction in those 1,351 disciplinary referrals that brought them there. Our attendance, that's true. We have one student that drove that attendance that's not in there, and I apologize, but that one student had 15 of the 20 absences for an entire grade level. We've addressed it. That student is in school now. Game changers last Thursday increased their scores in math, reading, or both 75%. You should make some noise on that. That's real data.
That's your data.
Yeah, that's real data. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's emotion. Okay. Positive impact because of the partnerships. Dr. Bell spoke of the partnership. He's a partner. We didn't miss a beat with Dr. Bell. That partnership includes parents and grandparents who sign a contract, say, I'm coming once a week, unannounced, for 30 minutes. When they come that one day a week, I tell them I want to know one or two things. One, I want you to see what your child is doing in real time because your phones won't ring. Two, I want you to tell me what my staff is not doing. So it's a set eyes. Strength is in the all eyes on. That's real. One-on-one tutoring with retired educators and college students. It's the most effective tutoring I've ever participated in. And that's why the needle called academics moves along with the disciplinary or the drop-in referrals. Any questions? Okay. Lasting change. That's first bullet, family dynamics. You heard the grandparents. You heard the mom. These parents like their kids again. And the kids like their parents. And the parents get to be parents, meaning they don't tell them what they want to hear. They tell them what they need to hear. And they do that based on a 4-letter word called love. So we're reestablishing that. Okay, no questions there? And I did provide everybody with a hard copy. This is a process that's allowed us to give you the data. There are 12 stages that we use from 1 to 12, 12 including case management, where we are checking on our kids once a week, every week. We tell them until you get out of high school. So that for a 6th grader, that's a long time. But they have a game changer that's going to show up every week and recommend to the principal if the student's not right, not living up to the promise, let's have them back. It's working. Any questions on the stages? I'm going to let Sherry talk to you about the process difference.
Well, as Carl was saying, you can read for yourself about what makes Game Changers Safe School different. And what I want to do is talk a little bit about the intangible things that you won't find in our data or on this PowerPoint. And to do that, I have to go back a little bit, actually a long way back. In 1959, I grew up in a little town called Hannibal, Missouri, and that was the first year I started 1st grade. My older sister and I was sent, and that was the first year that Missouri integrated schools. I don't want to forget that point. So my older sister and I was sent to one school. My brother, cousins, and other neighborhood kids were sent to a different school. And I can remember being that scared little 1st grader not fitting in, and being one of very few black kids, not only in my grade, but in that school. This was integration. And the little town was Hannibal, Missouri. Mick knows Hannibal. I remember being given free lunch, but my sister didn't get free lunch. I don't really know why that happened, but every day I would stand by the building watching my sister walk home for lunch while I had to stay at school, and I cried every day. And then I never fit in that school. And then the next year, my sister was leaving sixth grade to go to junior high, because back in those days, you had first to sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and then 11, 12. 10, 11, 12. And so my sister was moving to junior high. So they transferred me to the other school where all the other kids, my brother and everybody else, had been sent to. So what I wanted to point out is that was over 60 years ago that I was in the first grade, but I still remember those feelings. So often, the students that we get at Elite Game Changer School comes with different levels of trauma, family dynamics, or other issues. But the first thing that happens when they come to us, we create a stable environment. The students and parents know up front what our expectations are. They sign what Carl says is a contract, but really we used to call that a covenant, because a covenant is greater than a contract. A covenant is a relationship. And so that's what they sign. They sign this covenant agreeing that we will partner with you, we will help back up and support the things that you're asking our students to do at Elite every day. Because the goal is to make your student be able to go back into their main school, their home school, and thrive. Not just be there, but to thrive. And second, as I was saying, we bring the parent in as a partner. They become a real partner. And finally, we begin to develop relationships and trust. Every one of our game changers has a degree in life. They understand the culture and dynamics of the children that we serve. So our students often use bad behavior to cover up other deficiencies, such as academics, economics, dysfunction, whatever it is that they're dealing with. So that behavior is nothing but a cover, a Band-Aid to protect them. Because as the grandfather said, this little girl was being teased and bullied for things that she had no control over. And that's what so many of our children are dealing with. So we understand that in order to move our children forward, first thing we do is we meet them where they at. We practice SEL every single day with them, addressing real life issues that our students share with us and they bring with them every day they come to school. And we understand that because every game changer that is working there, they've had, if not the same, similar types of trauma and issues. So they're the experts in that field. And that's why those relationships are able to be developed, because they get these kids, they understand these kids. And every single one of them will tell you, I wish I had something like this when I was coming up, or I wouldn't have made some of the choices I made. So we tell them that they are not what they did on their worst day, and that they are being afforded this amazing thing we call grace. We understand showing our students that we care matters, and that's what we do every day, showing them that we care about them and that they matter. I didn't get that when I was that little first grader at that school. I didn't think anybody cared about me and that I mattered. And I practically was an invisible kid in that school. So that's one of the things we want our kids to know is we see you and you matter. Our method isn't rocket science. It's built on hope, care, and love. The most important thing we ask is that once our students are returning to their home school, that their yesterday is not held against them, and that all of their teachers and administrators in the schools they go back are willing to give them a second chance, because we believe in these kids, and we believe that we've given them the tools that they need to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next slide, please. Future. So our issues, what a blessing. Capacity. You have a need to support more students. We have a need to help you. We have an obligation to help you. So we're working on increasing capacity. What will that do? It'll look a little different because we're learning as we go. If we can do it different, instead of all students, imagine this, all students from grade 6 to 9 are in one room. It's like a little house on the prairie. Imagine if we could put sixth graders here, seventh graders there, eighth graders here, ninth graders there, have an amazing hero, a teacher, teach an issue that's affecting all of them at that grade level. If we're already raising the bar from 1.0 to a minimum of 2.0 with an American hero and a room, the game will change. Just quick demonstration. The day they're going to demonstrate did you guys know there was an international classroom symbol that's used all over the world? Are you guys familiar with it? Show them the international symbol. Teachers all over the world can see who needs help. So our kids start the day with that symbol. And we start with a simple word. What's the word? Focus. What's the word? Focus. Prove it. Look at the desk, look at the chair, shift. It's one thing to say focus. It's a whole nother thing to shift so that the teacher knows your focus. The teacher just digs in. They want to teach it a little longer. So when I say roll, you say roll. Communicate, please.
Please, thank you, you're welcome, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, excuse me, I'm sorry, help me, I have, I can, I will be a lead, sir.
Those words are used every day in every conversation with every kid, from me to you, from you to me, meaning adults are role modeling this. And the expectations are we'll have more of this. When I say game, you say changer. Game. Changer. Game. Changer. Please, it's yours. Extra measure. Help us change the game. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Cannon? Ms. Costa.
Yes, Mr. Cannon. It is a commendable program that you have and much needed. I do appreciate, I'm speaking for myself, I do appreciate everything that you are doing to help our youth, our troubled youth in this city. One of the things that I'd like clarification on is that Sherry had spoke in regards to addressing the social and emotional piece, but speaking of, the SEL, but speaking of it in the terms of the individuals giving life experiences as a means of reaching the children or reaching the students. Is there any issues, does your staff or any of your staff, do they have any additional training other than what you're telling me about as far as just meeting the students where they are and just giving them that encouragement? So do you have any certifications or anything? Does any of your staff?
Are
they qualified?
Thank you, Board Member Costa. That's a great question, and yes. When everyone else was on fall break, the team behind me went through 2 weeks of GPEAK. GPEAK with Illinois Central College experts includes mental health first aid. So we are better able to identify the signs of trauma before they display themselves with explosive behavior. We are better able to read the mannerisms of a student that we know, that we see every day, and when something's off, are you okay? What's going on with you? We do understand that saying one size fits all, no, it doesn't. So it's an individual approach of care from game changers, people who may have been there, done that, regret that, and can identify and intercept it. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Other questions? Ms. McConnell? Oh, were you finished?
Hello. Are you done? Hi. I just want to say that I have visited the center, and I want to say that I witnessed the process, the support. I've gotten feedback from other parents, and I feel like I've needed to be accountable by watching you, talking to you, tapping into some of the students and the parents. And I like the fact that you are building village support to the children and their families, and you're building partnerships. But what I like most is the trusted circle that these kids feel. And I think sometimes when a kid is struggling with learning and some other issues, if they feel like they have a trusted partner, it takes away some of their issue and that shield that they put up. And so I just want to thank you and your staff for thinking outside of the box and for reaching children who would otherwise be sent home and not learning and not graduating and just on a downward spiral. And I want to thank the parents, and I especially want to thank the drop-in visitor, because I think that is what matters, and it keeps the accountability there. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for those comments. And please, 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 be a drop-in visitor. There's not a bad time. What you're going to see, the worst thing you're going to see is a correction in real time. If it goes uncorrected, it's a snowball going down the hill. You know what it does. As it rolls, it picks up, gets bigger. We stop it early. And that's part of the stages that help us to have the success.
Any other questions of Mr. Gannon? Well, thank you, sir. I go back a long way, so I know exactly what you've done over the past umpteen years.
President Ross, if I could just real quick,
Sure.
just give a shout out to Dr. Bell. He had big shoes to fill, and we don't know, but we know how to make the call. And he responds to the call. So thank you, Dr. Karat, for putting such an able person with us. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I thought someone else was getting ready to talk. Okay, we have another presentation. I'll give you a minute if you guys don't want to stay for the next hour or two. Thank you for coming. Okay, next on our agenda is another district presentation, the annual Quest update. Dr. Tanya Jenkins. Good evening.
Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, Dr. Crott, I know she just stepped out, but members of the board. It's our pleasure this evening to show and share with you some of the Quest annual report data points that we want you to know about. There's a lot of things that we can highlight, and this presentation for us tonight is just trying to pick some of those highlights out for you to give you some important data points for our year. at a glance. And then if you have questions of things that we left out that you'd like further information about, we'll be happy to share those points with you. So tonight I brought along with me members of our team, and we work as a team as well at Quest Charter Academy. And you can see that we are STEAM-driven, college-focused, and limitless possibilities. And so we use those sorts of measuring sticks to get us through our year. So I asked for some of our team to come forth and to share some of the important data points with you. And first, to start us off, is our president of our board, Mr. Glenn Ross.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. President Ross, Vice President Murphy, Superintendent Dr. Karat, members of the board and the community. My name is Glenn Ross, and I serve as board chair at Quest Charter Academy. And first of all, I want to thank you for allowing us to share our annual report from Quest Charter Academy this evening. We are very proud of our Quest student achievements, and in June of this year, we have 34 seniors who are on schedule to graduate, our 8th graduating class at Quest. Of the 34 students, 34 seniors, all have been accepted and all plan to go on to college. 13 of them will go on to 2-year colleges, primarily ICC. Another 21 of them, the remaining 21, will go on to 4-year colleges in the Midwest, in the East Coast, and some in the South. 6 of them will go to Bradley University right here in Peoria. To date, the Quest graduating class has been awarded over $1 million of scholarships for this graduating class. I want to thank the Quest families, the Peoria Public Schools, for their trust and for allowing us, Quest Charter Academy, the privilege of educating the children of our community. I want to thank the Quest team for their dedication and commitment to our students and families and to the Peoria community. We have overcome many challenges during the past 3 years, as well as made necessary adjustments in order to continue our recovery from the lingering effects of the global pandemic. I want to thank the Peoria Public School Board and the District 150 leadership team, including Dr. Ikejaku and his team, for their help and consideration throughout the past several years. And finally, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. You are all invited to experience firsthand the academic environment at Quest. And secondly, I'd like to invite all of you, if you're available, to attend our Quest Charter Academy graduation on June 1st. Now, from this point forward, Dr. Jenkins and the Quest team will make the presentation of our annual report, and we're happy to take your questions at any point during the presentation. Thank you.
Not yet, no. Good evening. I am Dr. Michelle Cruz. I am the principal at the middle school.
And I am Robin McCracken. I'm the principal at the high school.
So we'll start out with some data points. First is our enrollment, our current enrollment. We have 190 students at the middle school, 195 at the high school. So that's 385 amazing scholars that we have in our presence so far.
The demographics have not really changed from last year. They're holding strong.
Okay, the next one shows our attendance for the second semester. Overall, 89.5% for the middle school and then 84% for the high school.
The staff demographics, currently at the high school, we have 75% of our teachers are certified. At the middle school, there's 67%. Currently, we have 4 staff members who are actively enrolled in teacher education programs. And at the end, in the beginning of next year, we hope to have, with those two at the high school and 2 at the middle school, 79% certified at the high school and 75% at the middle school.
Okay, so looking at our data. So before we get to that slide, I just wanted to go over some numbers with you. So right now at the middle school, for our NWA reading scores for this last, the last test, we had 48% of the fifth graders that were approaching at or above that 40th percentile, 60% of the, and this is for reading, 60% of the sixth graders, 55% of the seventh graders, and 56% of the eighth graders. And then for math, it was 42% for the fifth graders, 42% for the sixth graders, 36% for the seventh graders, and then 61% for the eighth graders. So that the students that are not in that number, those red students that we are concerned about and working with for reading, 78% of those red students grew within that range. So 78%. And then for our math, 73% of those students grew. So they didn't quite make it out of that red range, but they are growing. We're going the right directions. We have intervention classes that the students take every day in math and reading. And we're very intentional about what we're doing in those classes, and it is working. We are going the right direction.
All right, next slide. All right, for the high school, so our ninth graders, 78% of the ninth graders are approaching or above the 40th percentile, and 87% of the 10th graders are approaching or above the 40th percentile in reading. In math, 67 percentile of the ninth graders are approaching or above the 40th percentile. And in 10th grade, 76% of them are approaching or above the 40th percentile. And in the red range, there are 45.2% of them increasing in that range. And the next one is first semester, 92.7% of the freshmen were on track at the end of first semester. We are projecting that at semester 2, we will have 92% will end on track.
Can we go back can we go back a couple slides? Just one. So I meant one more. I meant to go back to this after I gave you the context behind it. So within every grade level, we are showing growth in both subjects, reading and math. So we are proud of that. We're proud of the direction that we're going in. And then the next one will show you that high school is doing the same, either staying right where they were or progressing. So we are very proud of that.
Dr. Cruz, did you include the IAR scores as well? Is that part of it? The
We
IAR?
we haven't gotten the IAR scores back yet.
Just a trend?
Just the, I don't think,
The most recent one.
I can't speak to those numbers right now. I don't want to give you a number that I can't back up, but we can get that information.
Can you tell the public what the IAR is? What does that stand for?
That's the state assessment.
Next slide. And
It's the
college
state
vi-
assessment.
Doesn't have a name.
Part of what they need to be able to, 12% of our students at NWA, we're still in the testing period, so for NWA, we still have 12% that haven't tested, it's in the makeup phase. So the IAR, they need to have that included. Science assessment. We don't have scores back, so IAR over a second schedule, those scores.
Thank you.
And I can address the SAT and PSAT scores. We have not received PSAT yet. SAT scores have been sent to the students but not posted in College Board account. We talked to them last week. It should be up this week. All right, so college visits for the 2022-23 school year. At Quest, all grade levels currently 5 through 12 go on college visits starting in 5th grade. they do college visits and going on up into the 12th grade. And those are some of the colleges. All right, College Bound, as our board president, Mr. Ross, addressed. And I will go over some of the colleges that they're bound for. Morehouse, we do have several students going to Bradley, Missouri State, the University of Arizona, SIU Edwardsville, Jackson State, Eureka, and Olivet Nazarene. All right, before we go to this and introduce the students, I did want to go over our share fair and senior capstones. There is not a, I'll just go over that. At Quest, 5th through 11th graders complete a passion project and present them to the school community. This passion project is researched and is a writing paper, and they also do a presentation. All 5th and 11th graders do this, and this is progressing and leading up to our senior capstone from our seminar class, and our seniors presented on May 16th. The senior capstone is a course that the seniors take. They write a paper and research it in MLA format, where they want to go to college that will best fit their career, and then they present to a panel of evaluators on what their decision is. Some of our students are engineers, there's an astrophysicist, just various occupations and careers. So now I'm going to introduce the students, and we have the middle school student, Renaya Anderson.
Short. I am. Hello, my name is Renaya Anderson, as she said, and I'm going to talk about the Skills USA competition. So in the middle school, we have, for creative photography middle school, 3 students won, one silver, 1 bronze, 1 gold. And prepare speech for middle school, we have won 1 gold. And me, I did job demonstration open middle school, and I competed with CPR with the AD, and I have won a silver medal. Thank you. And Skills USA, for me in my chapter, it prepares us for the workforce. It is not only seeing what integrity is, because we have 3 components, which is personal skills, technical skills, graded in academics, and workplace skills. And it's 17 elements for each component. So it's 6 elements in personal skills and technical skills, graded in academics, and 5 skills in workplace skills. And for workplace skills, it is my favorite element, which is integrity, that you will need in school and even in my future career that I want to work for. So to prepare in the daily world, you need integrity, you need responsibility, you need teamwork, you need all of these elements that we prepare for in Skills USA. And not even, nervous, not even being in Skills USA, it helps. Skills USA definitely helps. For me competing, seeing not even schools in Peoria, but schools statewide, seeing middle school, high school, secondary, college students. I'm competing against middle school, not even in Peoria, but statewide, and I got a silver. So that's just a little bit about Skills USA. Thank you. And introducing Carolina. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
As Renaya said, my name is Carolina Cabrera. Next slide, please. Okay. Thank you. Here are some of the STEM classes we take. The STEM classes we the STEM classes we take are field trips, but they're not just field trips. They are trips that we take that show us things that are grounded in STEM. So they help us explore different areas of STEM, and it can give us inspiration for what we want to do in the future. Some students, for example, they go to the Monster Immersive, that's all of Virginia's. So they see what's in there, and they're like, I want to do something like this in the future, and it gives them some guidance for their future career, and gives them an idea of what I want to study in college. Here's some of the other STEM field trips we took. Here is the robotics team. The robotics team starts in 5th grade through the high school. So students that maybe joined in 6th grade, they're gonna be able to continue participating on the robotics team all the way through their senior year if they want to. Here's the high school robotics team. It's guided by the head coach, Ms. Villanueva, who has a degree in robotic engineering from the Philippines. She has been working in Quest for 2 years, and she's growing the robotics program in the high school. Okay, the high school courses that are offered, the ones in the left side, are the basic ones that we take, but we also have our PLT W courses, which are an innovative project-based learning program that incorporates STEM, and so that we were able to implement them in our future careers. PLT stands for Project Lead the Way. Next slide. Thank you. There are some of the additional classes. Those are the courses that we have available for the health part of PLTW. And here is the engineering courses we have, and some of the additional courses we have. The main ones that I want to talk about are the paid Caterpillar internship, which we have 5 interns right now, the paid Bradley Crest internship, and the Google Suite certification. They are all, well, the first 2 are paid, which gives us, the seniors, opportunity to be able to explore the career they want to study before they go off to college. So maybe that's when they find out, like, this is my passion, or maybe this isn't for me. So we have some good students there. Tech for Global Good. The students had 2 identical computers. One had a broken screen and one had a broken motherboard. The students took all the components out and rebuilt one working computer from the parts. Then they installed a fresh version of Windows 10. Here's the Bradley Hometown Scholars. And then the Bradley Educator Conference. Our teachers, Ms. Ejaño, Ms. Villanueva, and our art teacher, Ms. Sanders, were selected to present at the Bradley University Educator Conference about engineering and the technology of robotics. The Bradley Crest internship. Here are some pictures of the students we have there. And here are our interns for the Caterpillar internship, which their names are Miguel Dominguez, Brian Grayson, Michael Higgs, Santiago Lugo, and Junk Mahardy, who, thanks to their work and good work ethic and the fact that they are capable individuals, were able to get an extension for their internship program, internship contract. Their good work ethic and the fact that they showed up every day at time was able to give them like an extension to the contract they had for their intern. And that's something that everyone in the school is really proud of, because it shows how good Quest is. Yes.
Next slide.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Arenas, and I'm the ESL teacher at Quest. This is my second year, and with me it is Ms. Rosalba Ortiz. I know that all these numbers are super important, but I believe also that parents word is also very important just to know what we're doing. So I'm just gonna help her with some translation. So I'm just gonna ask her why she chose Quest for his student who is a junior student right now. ¿Por qué usted escogió Quest para Moisés?
Yo escogí Quest Academic porque es una escuela que los prepara a los estudiantes con las habilidades y la confianza para crear el futuro que ellos quieren para ellos mismos, para nosotros como comunidad y para todos nosotros. Y que les ayuda a llevarlos a un camino a la universidad.
That was a lot, but I'm just going to.
Sorry. Me agarré hablando.
I said to her, hey, you just have to tell me like little by little because it's gonna be a lot, but it's all right. But pretty much what she's saying is that she believes that Quest prepare all the students just to go to to college, and that is really important. And more about that is just to prepare them to life. So that's what we all do. Like we work as a team at Quest. And this is one of the parents that she never miss a conference because she wants to know like the good and the bad, and that is really important. You guys have any questions for our parent? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a question?
Just a quick stand-in here for our Chief Financial Officer who couldn't be here tonight. One slide, and this just gives an overview of some of the key metrics or key focus areas on our financials. One, our budget for the 2023 year, our revenues and our expenses kind of divided up into a very high-level pie chart. The last item, our risk management, indicating that we have achieved our legal compliances and that they're up to date, and also our insurance policies are in place and up to date in accordance to our charter, our Quest charter. Finally, in our most recent year, as in previous years, we have received unmodified, clean audits for our management of the resources that are provided to run the school. Questions on the financial report? Thank you.
You had a question? Okay.
Okay, I just have just a couple of questions. I'm just curious about the class sizes and how many students. I know we got 190 for middle school and 195 for high school, but what are the average class sizes and students per grade?
As you just said, it depends on the grade level, and so some classes can be as large as 20, some classes can, and again, we do classes can be as small as 13, 15. So it just depends on the grade level, and this last year, our enrollment was small, so those class sizes varied. The average class usually per year is around 20, 22. So our classes don't usually go over the 22 mark.
Okay, and then the your trend of enrollment since COVID or either post-COVID?
The numbers you're seeing are the post-COVID numbers. Before that were around 520. So this year was exceptionally small, and then for next year, the numbers are back up around the 520 mark. You're welcome.
Right.
Yep. All right.
Hi.
Dr. Jenkins, hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. I have just a few questions, so bear with me. The last question, though, is going to be super easy, so don't even stress about the last one. First, I want to say thank you for your presentation today. Having the students present, I thought was a really great touch. It also kind of just puts a little bit more face on those programs and things that they're doing. I got to hear you speak with the students at the Kiwanis luncheon not that long ago as well. I was there as a guest, so it was really nice to get to hear your presentation while I was there as a guest as well.
Thank you.
But what I wanted to ask about, earlier on in the presentation, you had mentioned the number of certified teachers you have for middle school. I guess there's really no other way to say this. Are you okay with it being 67%? Is that working out okay for you guys, only having 67% of them as certified teachers?
I think the best way to answer that question is no, we're not satisfied with that. But one of the things that happens for us, as does Peoria Public Schools as well, is getting certified teachers. And one of the things that happens is we have teachers that have degrees in math, but they didn't have the student teaching piece. So what they're doing is they actually have the content area, but they don't have the teaching certificate. So what we do is we help them to go back to school to get that teaching certificate part. So that's what you heard when you heard that there's 4 teachers or staff members continuing to get that piece. They have to finish that last certification to be a teaching certificate.
Okay. And then on the NWEA, you mentioned the percentage of reading and math that are at or above the 40%. What is the percentage of students who are on grade level for the reading and the math?
I think that's what the principals were trying to share with you. So what we look at is the 40 percentile, being able to show that they're approaching or moving toward that 50 percentile. So they gave you those numbers, and that's a matter of data that we can provide for you directly from the NWA. So they gave that to you by grade level. What they depicted here on the charts are just that mean average of that growth span for each grade level. So we'd have to go back to their numbers again. Can you show me the actual sheet that you used from? Not this one, the one that I asked you to pull. Yes. So if you're wanting the exact numbers from the NWA, that comes directly out as a report, and that wasn't on the PowerPoint, but that comes directly from the NWA numbers, and we can give those to you as a handout.
Sure, love that.
Okay.
Just curious too.
Vice President
go
Murphy,
ahead.
just quickly, so that's the RITS? That's
The RITS scores.
Is that grade level, or is that?
Here,
Uh-huh.
that's just the mean average of the students the difference between the fall and the spring of the growth in that RIT range, yes. So in other words, if you have,
It's not grade level.
It's by grade level. What they have on the chart there is by grade level.
Number of students at grade level.
No, that's the average of the growth. The actual numbers for that are in this chart that they have here that they were providing numbers for by grade level. So, for example, I can give you an answer for 5th grade. So for 5th grade, when you say how many students are in that, you have, 26? You have 26% in the, or falling in the 20th percent quartile. You have 11% falling in the 41st to 60th percentile, and you have 4% in the 61st to 80 percentile, and then you have 80 that are above that. I mean, you have 2% that are, or 2 falling in the 80th percentile. So you can put all of those together to come up with those total scores.
Was that part of the PowerPoint that was submitted to us?
That's not a part of that is just coming directly from NWEA. And that comes directly off of the state. When we presented last time, we just included that as a part of a handout. So I asked them to have that as a handout.
Mm-hmm. Can you send it so I can send it to the board? Because I did forward the PowerPoint to the board.
Absolutely. So that needs to be included as a handout. And so part of the 2 things that they were talking about tonight was directly what comes from NWA, which is that chart that gives you what you're asking for, Mr. Murphy, is those percentages by quartiles. I say quartiles, but the percentiles in those different categories. And then they also were depicting and sharing with you, which we can add to the handout, is how many of those students that are still in that red, which is the 1st to the 20th, which is below. How many of the students within that range, within that percentile or that category actually grew within that. So I think those are 2 important pieces that you need as a handout to be able to get the full story.
Okay.
This just does a summary of from fall to spring of how much growth, the mean growth that happened within each grade level.
Vice President Murphy, continue your questions, please.
Okay. You had said that there's some additional STEM STEAM opportunities there, and it was mentioned that 5 students were actually enrolled in that paid Caterpillar internship, and it listed off their names. How many students would you say are enrolled in some of those other, like kind of total in all of those experiences?
Every student gets those opportunities, and so what's not shared is that when all of the students, when we do the STEAM camp experience, that's a 2-day experience where all students are immersed in that. When you take students to Bradley, all students get those opportunities. So all of our students get those opportunities, but as I tried to state at the beginning, the at a glance was the main ones like Caterpillar, where they're getting a full semester of it, but all students in the classes that we offer are also project-based, which is also STEM-focused. So project-based is more than just having a book. You have to actually do a project that shows that you've learned the curriculum enough to be able to apply it, which is the higher order thinking skills, to be able to apply it to your workforce, to be able to apply it. We do transitional math with ICC, so that's a course that you have to follow their project-based teaching, and you have to have ICC instructors approve your curriculum, and so all students get access to those types of STEM-focused activities.
Okay. And then with the ones that are like on those high school courses that are offered, I'm just curious, what is your enrollment in those courses specifically? I know that you also mentioned the other set of ones, but the ones that were high school ones, what are the enrollment numbers for those?
So if you're asking me specifically about the high school, in our school, the STEM classes are the way we teach. So in other words, when a student comes in and they create their 4-year plan, they have to be able to pick a pathway that they're going to go into, and no matter which pathway they go into, whether they're going into health, engineering, whatever they're going to go into, all of these STEM-related classes are embedded into that curriculum, and that's what makes it STEM-focused.
And then my last question is, we were invited to come to your graduation.
Yes.
And that is this June 1st, you said?
It's June 1st.
At
The high
what time?
school graduation is at 6 o'clock, and it's at the Bradley Center Student Center at Michael's Student Center. It's called Michael's Student Center.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Other questions of Dr. Jenkins? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Dr. Sandra Wilson who's going to talk about standard-based grading update K through 4.
Good evening, President Ross, Vice President Murphy, Dr. Crott, and Board of Education members. I wanted to give you a end-of-year standards-based grading update as we've been working all year on this. So this is really our status check. Just as a reminder, the work of standards-based grading implementation and common assessment development at the high school is part of our strategic plan. It is located in Strategy 1, where we talk about personalized learning and career experiences, and it is part of Plan 1, where you'll notice it specifically spells out standard-based reporting system that measures academic and non-academic, as well as Plan 2 speaks to the high school, where we're designing and implementing a district-wide assessment system based on grade and subject skills. So that's the work that we are doing. As a gentle reminder, standards-based grading is a different approach, and we're going to work very hard to help our families understand how to look differently at a report card than what they're used to. So instead of an average A, B, C, D, we have specific skills that a student knows and is able to do. What's really the best piece of this is that it's a three-prong approach. You can see that educators are involved. They have more specific information about student performance. Students are involved because they can clearly demonstrate proficiency in a very different way than they've been able to do before. And families also have clear and meaningful information. Instead of an average grade, they specifically know what their child's able to do. So what have we been up to this year? This year in Phase 1, we broke it out into K4. Next year is 5-8, and the high school is spread throughout. So these are the tasks that were completed. As a reminder, we're partnering with the American Institute of Research to support and help facilitate this work. They work closely with our committees, our district, and our teachers. So there were committees that were formed. We have administrators, we have teachers, we have communication, we have research, And that's where all this work is in these 6 different steps. So first thing that we did was we created non-academic standards, and we created those in the fall, and then they were piloted by 5 of our teachers in our classrooms this spring. We got some feedback, and we adjusted based on the feedback. Priority standards were identified for the K-4 literacy and math. Those are the key standards that all students need to know and be able to do. Then our teacher teams got busy and they developed learning progressions aligned to the standards. And learning progressions, what that means is when we look at a standard, it identifies how we know whether our student is meeting or not meeting. So it's kind of like a rubric, and we call them progressions, and those are spelled out. So if a parent has a question, we can clearly point out exactly where their child is. We also worked very closely with the research department. They gave us a new and improved, and I have a picture of it here in just a moment, report cards and grade book that needed to be overhauled because we're doing things very differently. So that is in a good place for K-4. We still have a couple more things to add. Our Encore teachers also worked together to make sure that they had standards that they could add to the report card. And the last thing that we're working on right now is a guiding document for our teachers. And that's to help them really align this work with the pacing and the curriculum guide that's established for them. So this is an example of non-academic skills. So you can see that there are 4 of them. These are aligned to our PBIS, and also many of our buildings already have these 4 pieces: be responsible, be respectful, be engaged, and be safe. And then we have definitions for what those mean. And this was part of a teacher team that came up with these definitions, and this was a subgroup that came up with these 4 categories. Next one. Thank you. So when a parent looks on a report card and they notice that maybe their child has a 2 for be responsible, it clearly defines what a teacher is seeing for that be responsible. And the same thing for be respectful, and then be engaged and be safe. So as you can see, the standard aligned report card really spells things out very clearly. This is a snapshot of what our standard aligned report card will look like next year. This is an example of a first grade one. And you can see at the top, there's a scale. So instead of A, B, C, D, or F, we have 4 is exceptional, that is exceeding. 3 is meeting the standards. 2 means that our children are approaching them. And 1 is they're below. And sometimes some of these standards aren't addressed in that quarter. So we have an NA, which means not assessed. So some of the standards are introduced second quarter or maybe the last quarter. So instead of leaving it blank, we have an NA so that families can clearly see what that means. This is an example of what the reading standards look like. And on the next page, you will see that this is an example of what the math standards would look like. And then you'll also notice at the bottom, this is the behavioral checklist, and these are those 4 non-academic standards that we talked about. And so those will also be part of the reporting to the parents as well. So how are we going to get the word out? We've been busy doing that, but we have a lot more to do. So this is our communication plan. We do have a communication group that is working specifically on this. We've already had PowerPoint voiceover in January and March for our K-4 staff, just to give them an update on here's where we're at, here's what we're doing, here's our next steps. So we wanted them to be included on what's happening. Then in May, we have been working with PLCs. They have all the PLC groups in grades K through 4. We have given them articles and videos so that they can learn more about standard-based grading, and they had some really good discussions, and out of that also came some great questions too. So we're getting some good feedback on things to adjust. We also have an update to the Board of Education, which we're doing this evening, and tomorrow night we'll share this information with the PTO Council as well. You will notice, you're going to have to search a little bit for it, but we are updating our website June 1st, so it will be more prevalent after that time. But we're going to have a public-facing website which has information. Right now there are videos on there. We'll also have a frequently asked question, and there will be all kinds of resources for families to use, so that will be available. We're also notifying the families that this is coming. You may have heard about it or you may not have. So we are going to staple notices to the report cards that are going out in May. We're also going to have information at our back-to-school night and then specific information for our parent-teacher conferences to help our families. Also, we have some summer training for our teachers that want to get a head start on it. We will have a couple sessions this summer, but we'll certainly have fall teacher trainings. And we're not just going to have just a one-time. It will be as things become more updated. So for example, how do you put things in Skyward? That will be a training. And then how do you have conversations with families? That will be another training. So we'll continue to have different trainings throughout the semester to support our teachers and support our families as we make this change. So there were lots of people that were involved. We had 24 teachers that was on the district teacher committee. There was one or more of representative from each K-4 building, so we wanted all buildings represented. And those were kind of the point persons to help the staff keep abreast of what was going on. We also had some 12 administrators that were from the buildings and also district level. We had principals, we had assistant principals, and then we had, of course, the curriculum team also join us, communication, research. So there was a lot of people involved. And then I already mentioned the subcommittees. The big heavy lifter was the curriculum, and that was really getting all those standards and learning progressions, working with the teachers to get that all accomplished. Communications, that will be ongoing. Research has been second to none with creating a template that did not exist. And then, of course, we had our non-academic rubric as well. And I already mentioned that there were also 5 teachers that piloted the non-academic rubric this year, or this semester. So looking ahead, next year, as I mentioned, we are going to implement the standard-based grading. So this was all the planning phase. So we will fully implement, and then we will also simultaneously be developing the 5-8 standards, report card, and learning progressions. So basically, the steps that we did this year, we will just replicate those next year for 5 through 8. And then we'll also have the 5-8 standard-based grading implementation in 24-25. So that's what we were doing with the K-8. We also had high school working as well. They are not going to a standard aligned report card like you saw for K-4. What they are doing is they are developing common assessments that are standard aligned with priority standards for each one of their courses. So the department chairs and the teachers, they met and they developed the priority standards for their specialty areas. The teacher teams, they developed the spring final exam by course, and those are aligned to the priority standards. We have not had a common final exam in this district for a while. So if you're in a biology class, you will have the exact same exam as all biology students in Peoria Public Schools. So that really levels the playing field and helps us really understand what our students are able to do in each course. Biology was just an example. So as I said, the first administration of the Common Final Assessment will be in just a week or so. And then before the teachers leave for the summer, we have asked them to hold on to the artifacts, the actual assessments, and also we have asked them to complete a feedback survey. And then we will use that survey and those artifacts when they come back in August to discuss adjustments that may take place. Then they're going to get busy in August, and they're going to develop a winter, for first semester, a common semester exam as well. And then they'll work in PLCs to tweak that and develop common unit assessments as we go. But we started with the final exam in the spring, the final exam in the winter, and then we'll work towards common unit assessments throughout. So that's what we've been up to. And we're looking forward to implementing this and also continuing to grow as this is something new. Kindergarten has standard aligned report cards right now, but they were the only grade. So now there's others. So questions?
Any questions?
Yes, thank you so much,
welcome.
Dr. Wilson. So is this a universal grading concept that will transfer if a student was to move out of state?
Yes, we currently get students move in now that have standard aligned report cards. So it's mixed throughout. So we will send this report card with our students that transfer out.
Okay, and so it gives the student, as you get into middle school, some kind of GPA measurement as well?
We have to work on that for next year. So that is our work next year. We'll also talk about eligibility, athletic eligibility next year. So there's some things that are going to come into play next year with the middle school that we did not really address this year with K4.
Yeah,
So,
I'm very concerned with that because
Sure.
as you get to middle school, as it transitions into high school, what is that high school transcript going to look like to a university? And the A, B, C, D scale is universal for high schools and for college as you transition. And I think we need to kind of stay safe with that because what we don't want is our students graduating in a university from anywhere not understanding our system and that the student only gets to be accepted based on a ACT score because our transcripts are not in alignment with a universal grading
Yes.
system.
I agree with you 100%, which is why we are not using the standard 4321 for high school. We are staying with A, B, C, D, F, the 90, 80, 70, 60 scale. So the transcripts for high school will not change. They will still have grades assigned to them. This is for K4 right now. We'll look at 5-8 next year, but the high school, we are simply working on common assessments. We are not going to change the letter grades because that's not a universal enough
Correct.
in our country that I agree with you that could be confusing, and we never want to do anything that might cause our students to not be.
And then I would even caution with the 5 through 8 because the 5 through 8 is preparation for high school.
Yes.
And what I don't want to see happen is the confusion for the parent and the student. Even as a student chooses high school courses, it has to make sense when you're looking at, we went from a 1, 2, 3, 4, now all of a sudden you're gonna have to flip that and make it parallel to an A, B, system. I think we need to, the primary school, I understand it because that is core foundational learning. I don't think in the best interest of continuity for our district as we're transitioning students from primary school to middle school into high school, that we expand this because it's not going to make sense and I don't think it's going to cross over well.
Yeah, and I appreciate those, and I think there's going to be a lot of discussions with the 5-8 that we did not have with K4. And we're using our teachers and our administrators to be on these committees, and nobody knows it better than them in the classroom. So your point is well taken, and we've thought a lot about some of the things that we're going to have to discuss, and maybe not barriers, but certainly hurdles, and it may look different than it did for K4, and that is perfectly fine.
Right, yeah.
There will
I
be an
think it's-
exploratory committee. for that.
Yeah, I do understand it. I just don't, I'm concerned about the transition and the universal as we're getting our kids ready for high school. And if they decide to go off to school, we don't want grade confusion because they are going to be faced with the 90%, 80%. And I think that transition in middle school is very critical. And then for even more so for the student to be eligible. And I do like those core concepts at the end that talks about responsibility. I think that's okay to put on a number scale. But when you start grading academics, it needs to be universal so the student's not confused, the parents are not confused, and that we've trained them to be able to transition without a hiccup.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Costick, was that your?
Mrs.
your-
McConnell asked one of the questions. I think I'm sitting here wondering about for programs that ask for, that require a certain GPA, I'm still a little confused as to how that is going to, from the standard-based grading system is going to correlate with required GPAs. So how is that going to work? I'm a little confused on it. And if you've answered it, I didn't get it.
No, I have not answered it. And so it's a great question. And like I said, we don't, that's really, that's not a focus for K4, which is what's primarily been our work. This is K4. We're going to have those discussions for middle school. And we don't know what it's going to look like because we have not gone there yet. So that's something that we'll have to take into consideration. The letter grades, the eligibility, the transition into high school, those are all pieces that we're going to need to look at for next year for the middle school. And it may look different than K4, and that's okay. It's okay. We just haven't done that work yet. So I appreciate bringing that up, and I'll certainly write that down as something to consider.
Actually, it does remind me of, performance evaluations. That's kind of what it does remind me of, in the manner in which that we are in the direction that we're moving. I guess I don't know enough about it right now, and as we move forward, maybe it'll be a little clearer to me. But right now, I'm just like, Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kostick, for thinking out loud and reflecting. It's based on skills. You know, they'll say, what is an A? You get an A or B in mathematics. What does that mean? Versus that sample report card for math that was shared, parents will know exactly what their kids know. You know, they can count to 120 in kindergarten or first grade. They can do stuff with 2-digit numbers. And so it's really based on skills and competencies. Yeah.
And that it's just looking at the format and everything. It does. Yes, I do. I understand the fact of there are certain criteria that a kindergarten should be meeting. So either they're meeting needs improvement or I understand it. It's just something that's very, very new, and it's just something that we'd have to get used to. And yes, it's still, you can color it any way that you want. It still looks like a performance evaluation. Okay.
Questions? Well, thank you, Dr. Wilson, and
Thank you,
also
Ms. Ross.
congratulations on your retirement.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this
Hopefully
will be
your
last time.
predecessor will pick up where you left off. Maybe you'll leave enough information for us to.
Absolutely. I'm working on a transition plan as we speak.
Great,
so
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we are at audience participation. I have, are you ready, Kim? Dan Walther.
You guys thought I wouldn't let those 200 people, and I waited them out, every one of them, so it's an empty place in here. My name is Dan Walther, live in District 150, former board member, and present was substitute teacher. I have to say I've substituted at almost all but about 3 schools in District 150. And the last school I substituted at was at Woodruff, Career Training Tech. And couldn't say how impressed I was with that school. I have to quote my good friend Terry Knapp that Woodruff should never have been closed. That's a whole nother story. But what we are doing with Woodruff is remarkable. I do have a complaint. It's got nothing to do with you. You can see the 5 or 6 different cameras that we have here, and the Journal-Star that's here to report all the good things that we've done, and they're not here. And that bothers me, because it's amazing what we're doing, what we're able to do, and continue to do in expanding that. I think the principal there has done a remarkable job. One of the last things I did when I was on the board was working with Mick and some other people. We needed some roof repair to be done at Woodruff. And part of the method of that was that we were hoping then to build upon a program for green energy, and they're doing that at Woodruff, and it's a good program. And I appreciate the help that the Building and Grounds Committee did on that, because we did some repairs at Woodruff, and it was like deja vu again. Being a board member and hearing Miss Yeti win a state championship, go on to nationals, that just keeps repeating over and over, but it's a good repeat. She's just remarkable is what she's done there. Just a couple of other things that we touched upon. The track and the ISEA, we've got an athletic director. Why wasn't he here? Why do we only have 3 schools participate? And the 3 that participated did really well. I don't understand. It's just a question, open-ended question you guys may have to answer to that. You've got another thing for, I think it's called Quasar. It's for fine arts. Being in and out of the schools, I have a chance to talk with different teachers and subbing for that. They feel, the feedback I've gotten, you can check with them, Quasar is really pretty good for 1 K through 4. 5 through 8, they think there's other programs that might be more effective, so I would suggest maybe you take a look at maybe something else other than that. The roofing that I talked about, you've got some other roofing going in at Manual and some other places coming up, and I had been on the stadium committee, and one of the things we talked about was that the stadium has already been re-roofed. We've got a new roof on that. I'm a big advocate of solar, and I think at the schools where we're putting roof on, I think we should look into the possibility of doing that, because I think solar would be a big help to this district. And at the stadium, it might be able to pay for almost all the electricity that we use out there in a remodeling thing. We may have money to do that because of the grant that we've had, but I would just urge you to take a look at that, to go green. Quest, they didn't bring up the renewal thing tonight, but some of the things they brought up, and I think some of you asked some good questions, but one of the things I would have you do before Quest comes up for renewal, which they will, their test scores, how do those test scores compare to District 150? Class size, I think Ms. McConnell brought something, you brought it up, that were some good questions. When you've got 18 and 20 versus District 150 where we've got 25, 30, how do you compare when you take what the test scores are that they have compared with 18 and 20? Their test scores should be a hell of a lot better than what we're doing here in school if they've got that small of stuff and they've got that kind of stuff. The other thing you ought to ask is, Dr. Crott may know the answer, and I'm not asking for her to give it to me now, but the state of Illinois gives charter schools an amount of money per student, and I think that's actually more than what we get right now. Mick can look that number up for you, but I think if you continue to do that, they're going to get more money per student for Quest in that their little charter school world, and is it actually worth it, for what we're getting back from that? Game changers. Carl, there is no question. Carl's a promoter of Carl, and he's done some really good things. And I was impressed with the things that they would game changers. I would just like to see some other people verify the numbers that Carl gave out on the success. I hope that all that stuff that he's talking about works as well as he says it does. The other part is, how much does game changers cost? What are we paying for game changers? How much is it per student? I know we have 1 teacher and 1 retired teacher working there. The other question I have is for the legal department. I brought the 2019 packet that we had when Quest was up for renewal the first time, and on a 4-3 vote, they were voted to stay in. And that law department did an excellent job. There was a lot of research done on that. I think there were 26 criteria for Quest to go in here. They missed on all but 3. And they were still voted in on a 4-3 vote. I think you're going to have that decision coming up. The other question I have, and it does go back to the legal department, Carl is on the board of directors of Quest. He's on the school board at Quest. He also has a lead at Quest. How is that not a conflict of interest? I don't understand that. He couldn't be on this board because he at one time looked at that, but he couldn't because of that conflict. The last item I have, I'm going to make it real brief, with school safety. We had talked about this. I talked about this a number of months ago. If I could ask the board's indulgence for about 30 seconds, there's consensus for that.
No, but you all are, so go ahead.
There's nobody else speaking. So, 30?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, I'll make it quick. I was here and talked a number of months ago about school safety and how I think we have some of the best officers, SRO officers in the country, and I asked for this school to be safe. And quite frankly, it accused Dr. Ross, or Mrs. Ross not being for that. Dr. Karat defended her. Nothing's been done since then. Since that time, we've had a number of mass shootings, including a school in Nashville, private school in Nashville, where kids were done with that. This board could tomorrow have our schools be safer than they are today, and nothing's been done about that. And that I worry about that every day, because I don't think it's a matter of if, I think it's a matter of when something's going to happen for that. And if a student gets killed in this school that could have been protected by an armed guard, that's going to be on you. So thanks for the extra 30 seconds.
Is there any response to audience presentation?
I think I'll have a safety presentation to the board sometime in the near future. I think that's not a bad idea. We're doing quite a bit, and I'm very proud of the work that we're doing regarding safety and our collaboration with PPD. Thank you.
Okay. Superintendent's update.
Thank you, President Ross. Just quickly.
No, go back.
Okay.
Let me get the approval of, a motion and a second for the approval of May 8th minutes. Would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, now we're into information items, superintendent's update.
Thank you, President Ross. Thank you for also teeing up Dr. Wilson. We recognized Mrs. Barron and Mrs. Malahi, but also wanted to celebrate and acknowledge Dr. Wilson's retirement at the end of the year. You've been a great partner. You've been with me for 6 years. We've done some bold project. You've definitely made a huge difference for PPS, for students, staff, and I really enjoyed working with you. And you are continuing like, you've just started, which I really respect. So thank you for coming on from AIR and joining me in 2016, I believe. And it's been a beautiful ride and great, great, great success. So again, thank you. And let's give Dr. Wilson a round of applause, please. She really has served Peoria Public Schools very well with passion, determination, hard work, and tenacity, and grit and resilience. So thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. Then just quickly, congratulations to Dr. Coleman, principal of Peoria High School, Mrs. Hawks, principal of Manual High School, and Mr. Billy Robertson, principal of Richwoods, for leading successful graduation ceremonies this past Saturday. The majority of you were in attendance. President Ross, Vice President Murphy, Mrs. Collin Slate, Ms. Costick, and Dr. Rankin as well. It was a great time. Oh, and for sure, Mr. Wilson. It was a great time. Board members were amazing in terms of representation. Richwoods graduated 360 students. Peoria High graduated 314. Manual graduated 137, bringing a total number of graduates from Peoria Public Schools, seniors, getting them to that next level, that major milestone, 811 students. So awesome, awesome, awesome. So that's, and then Quaver was mentioned. It's on the action item. I do have, some notes. Teachers really love it, based on a survey, right, Dr. Wilson? Do you want to say some things quickly? Because it come up. It says we use it almost every day for K1. I teach different lessons and customize them to make them fit. I love Quaver, and those are some excerpts from surveys as it relates to the renewal. And Quaver is, I should say, sorry about that, board, I got ahead of myself. It's an online musical teacher resource. You want to add anything else? Because it's an action item.
Right. So we surveyed the teachers, and what was the interest? And so 18 of the teachers answered, and 3 high school teachers that answered said they don't use really not appropriate for them. And all of the others, except for one middle school teacher, that they wanted, they use it, they would like it renewed again. It's interactive, it has lessons, assessments, activities for students. I actually went into a music classroom in Lincoln a couple of weeks ago just to observe students there as well. So just find it a very
And what I like about it too is I know there were some subs in some buildings without, encore, especially music. Sometimes that's challenging, but that resource really provides continuation in terms of lessons and education, musical education, and so the subs can literally pick it up and continue with that teaching. So that's President Ross. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Financial update, budgeted, encumbered, expended, balanced, and percent,
et cetera, et cetera.
et cetera.
Revenue of $216 million year-to-date is actually up $11 million from our May 8th meeting. Most of that is attributable to state and federal grant receipts. On the expenditure side, we're sitting at year-to-date $198 million. That's up about $9 million from our May 8th report, and that's a difference between those two periods, payroll and accounts payable expenses. Still performing better than budget overall, and we, during the month of June, will register a significant amount of receipts and expenditures due to revenue and expenses that are back-end loaded to the school year.
Questions of Mr. Willis? Okay, seeing none, proposed expenditures over $2,500. Anybody have any questions? Expenditures over $2,500? No? Okay, report of request under the Freedom of Information Act and the status of such request.
Thank you, President Ross. Since our board meeting report on May 8th, we have received one new request, and there were 6 pending requests noted on May 8th. Of these, 1 remain open. So to date, we have received 76 requests for this calendar year at a total cost of $3,800. Thank you.
Thank you. Action items include the consent agenda. Vice President Murphy.
Thank you, President Ross. The consent agenda. Number 1, gifts to school district year-to-date, $78,374.42. Number 2, payment of bills. Number 3, payment for travel. Number 4, human resource report. Number 5, approval of Woodruff students to Skills USA National Competition overnight trip to Atlanta. Number 6, Quaver Ed renewal. Number 7, manual roofing project. Number 8, Tree Wind roofing project. And number 9, LETRS training. And that is the end of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Are there any items any board member would like to pull for a separate vote? Seeing none, may I have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, would you call the roll, please? Are there any questions or comments on any of the items? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Deliberation agenda. Expulsions with expulsions held in abeyance. Mike.
The proposed action that the Board of Education approve expulsion with the expulsion held in abeyance listed on the report dated May 22nd, 2023 be approved as presented.
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions on this one? Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Expulsions. Number 11.
Proposed action that the Board of Education approve expulsion listed on the report dated May 22nd, 2023 be approved as presented.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any questions? Would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus? Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Number 12, suspensions, review/appeal.
Proposed action that the Board of Education approve the suspension review and appeal listed on the report dated May 22nd, 2023 be approved as presented.
Second.
Moved in second. Any questions on that one? Seeing none, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Costick? Mr. Claus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
President Ross?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Presentations and suggestions by board members. Are there any presentations or suggestions by board members? Seeing none, reports from board committees.
Our committee will meet on June 7th at 5 o'clock. That's for the policy committee.
Policy committee.
Mm-hmm.
Which Monday? This coming Monday? Okay, you've got that set up with, you have that down on your calendar?
I'm sorry,
I said you have that on your calendar?
not yet, no.
Oh, okay. Did you have anything, Ms. Costa? No, you don't have your committee set up yet? Okay, thank you. Other board committee reports, seeing none? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.